Welcome to the first Rise Up with Mark Rosner podcast. That was Sarah Smith, and it is Sarah Smith from London, Ontario on that tune there. And I noticed when we were recording this that we had some birds in the background. Sarah has a nice little place out near a lake, this kind of thing. And it appears there was some birds in there, so you'll hear a little bit of tweeting, and but that's okay. It's our first venture into the podcast here, and we do hope you enjoy. Let's get right to it. So, welcome to the first Rise Up with Mark Rosner podcast, and to sort of commemorate the day, I've got an amazing guest that's going to be along for the ride, whatever the hell this is today. This is the first podcast, obviously, so it'll be a little rough. I know that, so don't write in, okay? Don't troll me on social media. I'm aware that it's a little rough. And I've got a great guest here today, Sarah Smith from London, Ontario. And Sarah, can you say hi?
Hey, Mark and everyone. Hello.
Yes. Well done. So I'll tell you where I'm coming from with this podcast. I've heard about podcasts for a long time, and I haven't really understood how it related to me, right? I can't really do something half-assed. I got to really believe in it, know what it's for and all that. I kind of feel ready. Do you know what I mean, Sarah? Like,
Yes.
I feel like there's a reason, and I understand what it is and stuff. And, so we're going to get this started. It's going to be every week, and it's going to be a little different. Now, I want to set this up properly the first time. Now, when I thought about, what to do what the podcast would be about, it really, I wanted to give a background on myself to start things off. And so, Sarah, you can chime in at any time with anything, right? Because we'll get into some, but I want you to understand where I'm coming from, okay? So I'm going to tell you a little story, okay? So I grew up in a very, and you'll see why this matters, because podcasts are like, there's the F word thrown around and just anything goes, right, in podcasts. But to be honest, I don't want to feel the peer pressure to have to do that, okay? I don't want to feel like, oh, it's a podcast. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I'm totally okay with whatever my guest or people talk about. We can use, and I probably will get into swear words at some point. You might hear me say frickin'. Okay?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
You may hear the odd shit. I think bitch may come into play, although I have to find the line, like what makes the cut, so to speak, right? Because
Yes.
I'm used to being very, very business-like and
Professional.
and podcasts are not like that. You can just kind of be yourself, and I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to pretend I'm back 15 years old, at Denny's 4 in the morning on my 15th cup of coffee, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Right? I don't know if you have that. Denny's, I want a sponsorship right now. Okay. But I grew up, get this, I grew up in a Pentecostal home. Okay. So going to church every Sunday, speaking in tongues, where's people falling in the aisles, all that kind of stuff, right? I don't know if you knew about any of that stuff, but anyway, that's my story up to about 12 years old. And then we switched over to the Baptist church, okay, which is the total opposite of Pentecostal, like very quiet. Like if you have to, if you're
Reserved.
in service, reserved, and you have to fart, you're in trouble.
Oh yes.
Like, what do? You sit there and sweat. So I guess, I'm setting up sort of what my parameters are in this podcast. You're going to hear a lot of cool stuff. You're going to hear a lot of stuff that is completely useless. Okay. But I think, it's who I am, right? This is what my podcast is about. I get to be useless if I want to be. Okay. Now, but I do have a lot of conservative friends. Okay.
Yes.
A lot of people who are conservative who I love dearly. You take a bit of chance, but I'm telling you right now, if you're offended by something and you're listening to this podcast and you're like, well, Mark, we didn't know you were like that. Just stop listening right now. Okay. You can always take yourself out of the call, right? You don't have to listen to this. This is more like shooting the breeze. See, I said breeze there, but I'm going to add a shit.
Oh.
Okay, Sarah?
I love it.
So we're gonna. I don't know. We might have we want to keep track. Like in music, we're always keeping track of stats. So maybe somebody out there can keep track of how many swear words I say in a month, and we can have an over under.
Oh my gosh, we should challenge each other, Mark. I'm challenging you to swear, and you can challenge me to not swear. How about that?
Okay. And then we'll have a poll. Who do you think is going to win? Over under, and what type of, we can get into all of that. Okay, so I've set it up properly so everybody else out there knows. If you're at all don't want to hear me talk about things that are controversial, and because I normally don't, even if you look at my Facebook page, it's like, hey, this is us at the grocery store. This is us at the lake. I'm really, straightforward, but this is an opportunity for me to just be, put out more than what I normally would. And so that to me is what the podcast is. Okay. So now, by the way, for those of you who don't know, because everybody knows Sarah Smith, she's from London, Ontario, and like the most amazing artist, musician, person that you are going to meet on the planet. One of my favorite people, and I've known her for almost 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And has been a bit of a mentor to me. Did you know that, Sarah?
No, come on.
Yeah. No, seriously. Everybody looks to me to have all the answers, but when I need the answers, guess who I go to?
Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I think we really do help each other out. I think that as an indie manager and an indie artist, and these two people that are very passionate about what we do, and we've learned all our lessons the hard way by learning them, by making mistakes. I think that we can offer each other support. It's a fun game out here, and there's not a lot of us doing it. So I think that as much of a mentor as you say I am to you, I think that I will return that favor to you.
Well, very kind of you. I appreciate that. I wanted to tell you something because again, this is probably in the useless file, but I like talking about this kind of stuff. I bought an air fryer.
Wow.
You know
So
what
they
that is?
actually, they you can fry French fries, but it doesn't use oil.
Yeah.
Correct?
I mean, my wife told me, I wanted to get a one of those, the greasy ones, the grease, whatever. And she says, no, you can buy this air fryer. And so I thought, well, bullshit, there's my first swear word, Sarah. keep track of it, please. So no, I got it home and I don't know, I'm doing everything in there. Like watermelon.
Really?
No, I'm not.
Come on.
But seriously, it's killer. I tried some onion rings, and all it does is it heats it really evenly from all sides, and so stuff ends up really like baked, but really quickly. So I'm into cooking,
wow.
right? It's really great. So I think I did some potato, like hash brown this morning, like roasted potatoes, and it was ready in 15 minutes. It was awesome.
Wow.
So
Are they dry though? Like, are they dry,
you
or do
would
they
think,
taste?
right? Picture a microwave that cooks it really quick, but it's not microwaved. When it comes out, it's juicy and awesome inside and crispy on the outside. Picture that.
Okay, don't tell my partner, because we live in a trailer for the summer, and I have a feeling that thing is going to be sitting on our trailer counter very soon. So we'll just keep that quiet.
Well, how the hell are we going to do this now? Tell her don't. Yeah, I just did this podcast, but you can't listen. You know what she's going to do? No, I won't listen. And she'll go away and she'll secretly listen like we all do, right? We're also full of shit.
Well, she's also a consumer. Okay. So she likes to buy things, and she really likes
Problem?
trying new things. And And I'm not. I'm like, let's get rid of everything and live off like a few pieces of clothing and live in a
You're a
trailer. Like that's,
minimalist.
I'm trying to be, but she's like all about the memories and nostalgia, and she likes buying all the new modern things. So it's a good match.
Ah, good. Well, that's a great segue. I've got a list here, but I do understand segues. Sarah, I got a serious question for you. When did you come out?
Do you know you're the first person that's ever asked me that, Mark? Like seriously, out of all these interviews and podcasts, everybody skirts around the question, and I know people want to know what the hell, what's your story? Okay, so well, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I came out, I guess, when I had my first real girlfriend, who ended up being a long-term relationship. I was married to her and together with her for 14 years, and that was, about 16 years ago. And it just so happened that I kind of started dating her, and I just told my parents, like, I think I'm in love with a girl. And
Oh, boy.
they actually said, okay. And just like you, Mark, I was also raised in the church. My mom is a United lay pastor. And then we also became Pentecostal worshipers as
I never
well.
knew that. But
Yes.
how would I know
And
that if I don't ask, right?
exactly. So our life was a little bit surrounded by Christian and by values and morals. And I was never told that it was okay to find other genders attractive. And so I never allowed myself to go there. And then one day I just like went there, and I realized that it all made sense. Everything made sense. It felt like fireworks were going off in my heart, and it just felt right. And I knew then that, yes, I was gay. But even though I was married, Mark, it was really, really hard for me to tell people I was gay. It was really hard for me to stand in the pride parades. It was hard for me to associate myself with the gay label. I hadn't figured it out inside my soul yet. I hadn't worked through the shame and all the stuff that comes with being gay. Because of my upbringing and wanting to be a good girl and not wanting to disappoint my parents, not wanting to be judged. It was really hard to come out. I honestly feel like I just only came out recently. I just feel comfortable now.
Well, but do you think you went through some dark times, I know, a few years ago. And do you think some of that has to do with expectations? Oh, I'm not meeting people's expectations, so it makes you feel bad about yourself, and then you slip into this or that. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely something I cared about. I cared about what other people thought of me. I cared about other people's opinions of me. I cared about looking good, and not being vulnerable and not looking like a failure and not making mistakes in the public's eye. So yeah, I definitely cared about my reputation, and I still do.
Well, it's good to care, but when I got a question. So did you like, what do you think when you dated guys and stuff, right? Like, oh, I'm doing
Hmm.
the right thing, or I mean,
Well, I just didn't know any different. I grew up in a really small town, and nobody in my town was gay that I knew of, and I never even heard of it. And I actually married a man who was like a very effeminate, lovely man, and we got along really well. And the marriage didn't last long, but it was a loving relationship. And all my relationships with men have been very loving. I've been very lucky. But the moment I kissed a girl was the moment I knew that, yeah, okay, I'm gay. How do you know unless you know?
well, that's true. Like, where's the line unless you cross it?
Yeah, exactly. And when nobody tells me anything, or I wasn't aware of it, how was I even supposed to know it existed? But when I, first broke up with my husband, all these girls started sort of coming on to me, and it was very, very weird. I mean, here I was in this band called Pop Joy, and I had a pink mohawk, and I was wearing all rainbow colors, and I couldn't understand why girls were attracted to me. So I didn't know rainbow meant gay. I just loved rainbow colors.
Isn't that something? Yeah, it's funny how these different things and symbols take on, meanings. Hey, well, how come you're wearing your? I used to get like, why is your earring in this ear or that ear? I remember like, well, I'm 53. I'm dating myself, right? So I, I put an earring in, and I was really sure to get it in the right ear. You know, but that was because of the church and everything I was taught, as don't go there, this kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's wrong. It's wrong to be
yeah.
that way.
So regardless of the way people feel about anything, we owe every person on this planet respect. Period. We don't have to agree with people,
Yes.
and that is sadly missing in social media. With a lot of people, you just see how many people are not accepting of whatever, and it drives me crazy. And it kind of drives me crazy on social media that I can't say something, but like, give people a break. Holy smokes, let people
Hmm.
live. Um, well, interesting. No, that's an amazing story, and your background. I mean, it's great. I I want to talk a little bit about my family situation a little bit to get people up and aware, sort of what's been happening with me for the last little while. I went through a really tough time about 5 years ago, and I had to just get away. I mean, you're talking about dark times and stuff. I try to be professional all the time, right? I hope no matter what happens, you see that I try to be professional, even if I don't understand what's going on. And I decided to do something really strange and go to Cambodia. I'd met somebody, and
Mm.
we had talked for about a year, and I went to visit them. And so I met my wife there. For people that don't know, our story, and my wife is from Cambodia, and we spent like, I came back. I think I went there for 1 week, and met her family and everything, and I came back, and then I went and lived there for 6 months, and we really got to know each other. And then I came back to Canada, and then again I went away for 5 months, and we actually got married over there. uh,
Wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, if you look back far enough in my Facebook, or even onto some of the photos, you'll see me standing there in a traditional Khmer outfit. I had to get into one of my friends said I look like James Brown. um, but James didn't carry a sword, but I had a sword. Yeah. The
Wow.
Khmer weddings are gorgeous, like with the flowers, the
Wow.
colors, everything. It was an amazing experience. So we got married over there, and then I had to come back here, and we had the whole PR thing, permanent residence, to go through, right? So if anybody's got any questions about how to immigrate to Canada, just call me. Um, but that was about a year and a half process. She finally got over here in permanent residence. I had to go pick her up, and then we had to get our daughter. Her daughter is 8 years old over there, right? So then we
Hmm.
had to spend a year doing the permanent residence papers for her, and then we went out and got her. It was an amazing feeling to have that after a year of being away from someone, to all of a sudden be approved. So we
Wow.
went and picked her up, brought her back here. So get this, she was approved, and we got out to Cambodia on January 26th, I think, of this year. So what we had to do is we had to go through China, and this
Whoa.
when, like, everything was like, at the time I thought, yeah, whatever, this Chinese virus, right over there, it's only in China.
Right, right, right.
About January, the end of, and so, my wife, being from Asia, had the mask on, and she was familiar with this whole thing. I thought, oh, brother, okay, I'll wear it, on the, just out of respect and this and that. But we were about, I'd say, 3 hours from Wuhan. We arrived in Xiamen, and the airports were kind of strange. I noticed that, but I still didn't think there was anything weird. Um, we get to Cambodia. We're there for 3 weeks. So February 10, all the three of us came back, and we got into Canada February 10. And looking back, like, how lucky! Wow, we just barely made it
Oh, wow.
with our daughter. And
Oh
the
man.
funny thing is she was around the house for about a month, and we got her, well, maybe 3 weeks. We got her into school, and I'm thinking, great, we got her into school, and everything's good. And literally, she had 3 weeks of school, and they shut it down. And so
Oh my gosh.
I know. So now, she's around the house all the time. And is this what Canada's like? The full lockdown? Like, can we go to the pool? No, you can't go to the pool. You can't do anything. Just sit there and wait.
Oh, the poor girl.
Oh, I know. So anyways, out here in BC, we've been getting out of lockdown pretty quick, to be honest. I think we're ahead of Ontario, if I know correctly. Like,
Yeah, we are still at the 10 people limit.
Right.
What are you at?
Well, it depends where you go. We're almost back, like within a couple of weeks. Pools are open, everything, theaters. I don't know if gatherings are going to come back anytime soon. And this gets into a whole other thing, right? Like, we've got our shows coming up in October for RiseUp. We've got RiseUp Quarantine and that kind of thing. But in talking to the artists that are used to pretty big crowds, I mean, they're not doing anything until 2021, and they don't even know when.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah. I just had another tour canceled, Mark, for the fall and moved to next year.
Where was that going?
Europe.
Oh, is that the one you do every year?
Yep, I had one canceled in May as well. So
Oh.
I've had 2 European tours canceled.
Well, I was going to say, for you, like, and this is a bit of a music question, but are you a little worried about sort of what to do now? What are you doing? Like, I know short term you did some online stuff, but how do you see it opening up enough?
I'm going to say that like 3% of me is worried because
Sure.
things have changed and change is hard. But 97% of me realizes that I'm always going to be okay and I'll always be taken care of, and that everything in life will always work out, whether I'm doing music or whether I'm not. I do not define my life as only music.
Wow.
So I'm open to, like, I've just got my hands kind of open and I'm like, I surrender to this. I accept it. I surrender to you, the force of an energy of nature, and just take me where you want to take me.
Wow. That's amazing. And you're not just paying lip service to that. I get, you're very integral. And there's very few artists that have as much to lose as you, because it's your full time and you've built it up for a long time. Interesting. Well, here, before I move on, can I say a few thanks to sponsors? Will you let me do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Yes.
Okay. And here's the thing. Especially right now, I'm very grateful for these people. Maxagram, thank you, Maxagram, located in Kelowna, BC. If you don't know what Maxagram is, just take a look. Just Google them, Maxogram. A great sponsor, and they do kind of an interesting technology related business card. It can be used for musicians, but it's also for businesses and stuff. And it's like a tech company. So it's on the internet. So on your business card, you used them last year, didn't you, Sarah?
I did, and I thought it was so amazing. So you scan the business card, and up comes all my social media thumbnails, and you can follow me on all my social media thumbnails. It's just incredible. It's like a 3D business card.
Yeah, no, thank you. You explained it better than I could. So we want to thank them. We also want to thank our newest sponsor, 64 Audio. Oh, I'm happy to have 64 Audio on board. In-ear monitors. They work with some of the biggest artists in the world with these in-ear monitors. They're high quality, not like the shit that I'm wearing. There's reference number 2 or 3, Sarah?
That's 3. That's 3.
That's 3. She's keeping. Oh boy, she's keeping track. So 64 Audio, they're out of Portland, but take a look at their website, 64 as in the letters or the numbers, and then audio. And they're also helping us out. We've got a bus. Sarah, can you believe we have a bus?
Come on, really? Oh, yeah, this is amazing.
It's going to be like a party on wheels. Well, this is 64 Audio bus is going to be driving around, and our bus driver used to drive for Share.
Come on.
Yes, we're doing a tour in October, and we've got that. And so 64 audio.
Do you believe in touring bus?
See, the production on this podcast is unfrickin' believable. There's the first frickin' for you. Did you catch it? Okay. You know what, Sarah? Honestly, the F word doesn't work well with me. Like if I
No.
say it, I sound like an idiot. Okay? You know, I understand people who use the F word can make it sound good and interesting and it's relevant and frickin', but I'm frickin'. Can you imagine Andy Griffith saying the F word?
No, I don't know who that is, to be honest, but
Well,
I'm not a
showing my
TV
age.
person.
I'm showing my age. Andy Griffith, yeah, the older people will know that, but no, he wouldn't sound good sounding, using the F word. Now, right along those lines, not at all, actually. Sierra Sil Active Living. I've been using Sierra Sil for about 3 years, and it's an all-natural supplement to help reduce inflammation in the body. And I'm very, very fortunate to have them as a sponsor for all the things that we do. And they're very supportive of music and all of that. And we're very grateful. We have more sponsors than this. I wanted to mention these three on this podcast and make sure I let them know. Shout out. Sierra Sil is spelled SIERRASIL. And well worth it. Makes you feel a lot better. I'm going to move on to something I'm going to call pet peeves. Okay. Now, I think I texted you. I said, think of a pet peeve. Okay. I'm going to tell you my pet peeve. The reason I'm going to do pet peeves is this, because I'm pissed off most of the day. Every day. I get pissed off, right? All the time. Almost everything pisses me off. Matter of fact, I'm pissed off right now because these in-ear monitors that are not 64 audio. My 64 audio monitors are in the mail. But you know what? I've been getting a lot of these, when people friend you on Facebook, that's fine. I can look at you. I can say yes or no, right? Based on what I see. But I'm getting a lot of these messenger people. Like somebody just dings me, like bing, I look at it and it's like Joan Dempsey or something. Actually, I said her name because I'm pissed off. Okay. You never asked me to be my friend. You just came on and you said hi.
I hate the highs.
What the frick? Hi what? Like that one deserved the F word. It would have sounded better, but I said frick.
You were almost going to go for it. I could hear it in your voice, and then you switched.
I'm getting closer. You're a bad influence on me. No, because the first time I ever saw that, like when I got Messenger, I had no idea. I just, stuff blindsides me sometimes, Sarah. I had no idea somebody would do something like this. So they started going on about hi. And I said, oh, hi. Obviously they're going to ask me an intelligent question. But I quickly realized within like 2 or 3 minutes, they're talking about, they're being super friendly and it doesn't have a point. And then they started, have you heard of this new thing? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And then, so after about 3 or 4 minutes, I'm like, this person is full of shite. And so I just happened to be sitting around somewhere. I had nothing to do. So I just started playing along. Like, yeah, that sounds great. Perfect. Right to the end where they're like trying to get my credit card. And I'm like, what do you mean? How do you do that? Where's the link? Blah, blah, blah. And then finally I just said, hey, you're full of shit. How does that feel? And then they totally swore at me, and that was it. But that's my pet peeve. I'm getting a lot of these people saying, hello, have you heard about the newest blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah. As soon as I get the first sentence now, I block them.
Right. Yeah.
I don't take it anymore. Block. You're blocked forever.
I don't think you're the type of person that blocks a lot of people.
No, but I know the scammers, and I've had to block some strange, obsessed fans. This one fan created 78 profiles of the same name just to contact me. So there's been some weird ones.
Jeepers. Because everything's so anonymous now. Oh, that's too bad.
But they only create their Facebook pages so they can go onto my statuses and call me names and swear at me and tell me I'm like the worst artist they've ever heard and that I'm a hypocrite and full of shit and all that stuff.
Oh my goodness.
So it's something else.
I used to
But
take.
meanwhile, I'm going to tell you about this person. I know them personally, and they're in a care home because they're disabled, and they're somebody that I took care of and went and visited and had lunch with a few times and played music with and took my time to be a friend to them. And they don't think straight, so they instead they do weird things on Facebook to my name, and it's just so strange.
But it's a good lesson on mental illness.
Right.
There's a lot of it out there. I think
Right.
all of us have mental illness, right? But it's just when it gets severe, it's obvious, right? So
Right.
we can't take things too personal. But
Correct.
still, yeah. Anyways, this is interesting. So do you have a pet peeve and that jumps to mind or what?
I don't like when I'm dealing in business and I write a note back to somebody with like 5 questions, and it's very well marked,
I
and
know what you're going to say.
they come back and they don't answer any of the questions, or they just, or the same thing. They'll ask me a question and I'll answer it, but then they'll ask me the same question a different way. It's just,
I get it.
that drives me crazy.
I was texting back and forth with somebody last night, and it was going along, and then all of a sudden, like I said, okay, so let me know which time works for you, and then nothing.
Yeah.
Like that's the period at the end of the texting. We've spent 5 to 7 texts back and forth. We've decided that it's tonight or tomorrow night, and then nothing. So I get it. There's a communication you're talking about, like a professional communication, and it's like when somebody emails me and says "sup." I don't know if you've had that before, but I won't even return that, right? Like, be
No.
professional. Like, or I guess it happens where somebody sends you an email and then you respond on, or you send them an email, then they respond on Facebook, and then you don't really like. Emails to me are good professional ways of doing things where you can track it. And so if you're having a conversation there, then keep it on there. And then if you're talking on Messenger, then keep it on there, and then suggest to move it over. I get it. I feel your pain.
And another pet peeve is
Yep.
is this one drives me crazy, and I know it's because I probably have done it to people, and that is that, um, when somebody is talking to you and they think that they're more spiritual than you or more knowledgeable than you, and so they say it in a way that it's demeaning. Do you know what I mean?
Condescending.
Condescending, yes, and so hypocritical. And anyway, I can't give you any
And Sarah,
examples.
you're I would have to say you're anything but that. When, like, I have asked you stupid questions before and you always answer me politely.
Well, I'll give you an example, okay, Mark, of what I know I did in my past. Okay, so I was sober and clean back when I was 20 years old. When I was 20 years old, I was sober and clean for 8 years, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And in those 8 years, I went to programs of recovery, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that I had all the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And so if somebody came to me with a problem, I would answer with, well, in the book, they tell us to live this way, and we have to do that. I would answer with those we kind of answers.
Yep.
And sometimes they can just be so condescending. And I've had some friends in my life that are on a spiritual journey, their own spiritual journeys, that think they're more far ahead than me, and they probably are. But who is not a competition?
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Spiritual journeys are your own journey. Go on your journey, and just try to understand that we're all on the same journey together.
Yeah. It's a big thing to learn in life, how to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved Jack Nicholson. When Kim Basinger in Batman, she says, you look great. And he goes, I didn't ask. I mean, if somebody asks for your opinion and for your help, great. But I think a lot of what they tell us to do is just listen.
Yes, that's the best analogy of turning what I have to say into something simple, is that we must learn how to listen.
Yeah. Well, on that note, um, let's wind her down. I would love to hear from people. Rosnermanagement@gmail.com. If you have any pet peeves, if you have any, we're going to get another segment called "I'm Buying a Car," because it's true. We're buying a car in the fall, and my daughter wants a Tesla or a Lamborghini. So I want to know what car we should buy. That's something coming up. And if you got any topics you want us to cover on the podcast, because, we're not just, we're in the music business, right? But we're people too. And this is what we like to do, is get to know one another. So do feel free to email me at rosnermanagement.com. rosnermanagement@gmail.com with any of those suggestions for the podcast or pet peeves, and maybe we'll read your name on the air, maybe not. But anyways, Sarah, anything coming up that you want to let people know about? We're at July 2nd when we're talking about this, but I think it's going to be released next week. So, July 10 or something like that. But is there anything coming up you want to let people know about?
You know what's coming up, Mark? Nothing.
Okay, and what day was that? Every day?
I have nothing happening every day.
I want your life
that way. No, I always have things on the go. I'm a go-getter, and I'm a hustler. But you can find everything that you need to know about me at sarahsmithmusic.com. Okay. And also, Mark, I just want to tell you that I recommend the Dodge Grand Caravan. They are amazing vans, and they drive like a car, and they are very spacious. And every musician I know, not every, but a lot, have the Dodge Grand Caravan. You must get it.
Okay, well, you heard it from Sarah Smith. Advice on the vehicle front. We're going to go test drive a Tesla tomorrow. And,
wow.
And we'll see what that feels like. But I will take that as the first suggestion. Thank you so much, Sarah. It's been great to have you on my first podcast. And actually, you're the singer of the theme, Rise Up, that people will hear on this podcast. So thank you so much for that wonderful tune. And catch Sarah Smith wherever you can. She's amazing. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And we'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks a lot, Mark. Have a great day.
Rise up, everybody. Do something good for a change. Rise up, everybody. Wear our hearts on our sleeves. Oh! Rise up, everybody. Do something good.